right, listen up. This is the Music Scene Podcast. I am your host, Dave Cudrak. I hope everyone is doing well, getting through February, happy, healthy. I just had my 52nd birthday yesterday. Thank you, everyone on Facebook who took the time to wish me a happy birthday. I really appreciate it. My youngest daughter wrote me the sweetest note for my birthday, and I'm reading it out loud to her after she gave it to me, and I start crying like a baby. So she's looking at me like what's wrong, and I'm like, you just make me so happy. Anyway, but yeah, I really appreciate it. It's those little things in life that really kind of get you. Thank you, Arden, for doing that. It made my day. Anyway, my guest today is Billy Reavis. Many of you know him around South Jersey from the open mic scene. He is working with his band Billy Ray and the Bad Boys. And they've got an album that's actually coming out today, Friday, February 21st. The album is called Bonafide. And it was a great conversation. Billy's got a very colorful background, if you will. He's been through some stuff. We talked about him doing time for some mistakes he made in the past. We do talk about it because that's where his musical journey started. It's really interesting. And then we talk about how he has made so many improvements in his life since that time. So it's a really good story with a happy ending. So, I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I had a blast talking with Billy and his entire band. I have a small studio in a loft in a condo, and it's not a large space, but we managed to fit, I think, a total of 8 people, maybe 9, including myself, 3 guitars, a keyboard, and a cajon. So we were all kind of crammed in, but we made the best of it. It's the first time I've hosted so many people on the podcast, and we get to everybody's story, but it was a fun conversation. We get 2 performances at the end. I had 8 people, but only 4 microphones. So the audio's during the conversation, it's a little airy. You can kind of hear the room. I don't think it's bad though. Did the best we could, and you can hear everybody when they're telling their stories. So sit back, enjoy my conversation with Billy Ray and the Bad Boys. All right, so we're here with Billy Reavis and the Bad Boys. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks. Thank you. So this is the biggest group that we've had in this little studio here, and we've got a couple more coming. How did you guys all kind of get together? How did Billy Ray and the Bad Boys become a thing?
About 4 years ago, I had the honor of going down to Nashville and recording a song during the pandemic, and and it was my first song. It was called "I'm Doing Time." And I'd never experienced recording here before, or even music in general. I had these songs written that I'd written years ago, and that's another story in itself. But I wrote them while I was doing time in prison for making some mistakes as a young man. Paid my dues, but I wrote a bunch of songs while I was down.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind me asking how long?
Overall, it was 18 years.
Okay, so that's a lot of music.
And so while I was down there, I had 2 choices. I could either let the prison consume me, or I could make changes.
Right.
And I decided I didn't want to make the same mistakes twice.
Sure.
So I was set about educating myself, and I just started writing. I just started writing everything that was coming out of my head. I was putting the thoughts from my head on paper.
Yep.
And eventually that started turning into stories.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point it still wasn't even music. It wasn't songs. I wasn't even thinking of it like that.
Right.
I'd never had any music training before. I'd just been singing most of my life, and like everybody else in the bathroom, in the shower, stuff like that. But make a long story short, I started just humming my own words, and eventually, I started coming up with my own songs, and And the more I did it, the better I got.
Now when you're creating these songs, you didn't play any instruments, so these are just like a cappella stuff in your head. Okay,
straight out of my head.
Very cool.
And not having access to any musical instruments where I was at and stuff like that, I had to be creative. How am I going to create music that I can't even play?
Right.
I just started working on the words.
Okay.
And when it started sounding good, I would move on to the next line of the song. You know what I mean? And over a period of a few years, I started coming up with a process of writing songs. I figured out pretty early on that you found a hook first, and then you wrote the song around a hook.
Okay,
you know
gotcha.
I mean? And here was the key for me, though. Every hook I wrote was based on a true story, based on something, an event in my life.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't like I was trying to make stuff up out of nothing.
Sure.
Everything was based off of true events.
Yep.
So it made it a lot easier.
Okay. So you're writing music and all that stuff, and then how'd you get the opportunity to go to Nashville?
So 14 years ago, I came home from prison.
Okay.
And I didn't have no idea what I was going to do with myself. I just knew I didn't want to go back to what I was doing.
You said 14 years ago?
14 years ago,
Yep.
I came home.
Yep.
And I met this beautiful lady right here beside me, Dora Wozunk.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't think I've ever seen you without her, by the way.
She's always
actually, there's been times she's been out without me.
I don't believe it at all.
But I met her early on when I came home. I like to think of it like this. I came home with two things on me: a bus ticket and a pile of notepads full of words that were dreams to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, and I had two choices. I could either go back to the world I knew, which was robbing, stealing, and doing drugs, and just being a menace on society. Or I could make some changes in my life.
Yep.
I chose the hard road. I made the changes.
Okay, good.
Making the changes. Well, one of the changes was meeting this lady right here, and she helped me stay on the right course. Now, I veered off the road a few times. I've even crashed in the ditch over the last 14 years. But she's always been there to repair me and bring me back on the road.
Sure.
And it's gotten easier where I'm not going off the road anymore. You know what I mean? I'm staying on the road now. So
Dory's making all kinds of faces over there, by the
way. So I'm still a work in progress.
The warden. So that's my nickname, is the warden.
So 4 years ago, the pandemic hits, of course.
Yeah.
And early on, I lost a half brother of mine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To COVID.
Yeah.
And so we're all at home, locked down in our houses and stuff, and I can't go to a funeral in Texas to see my own brother's funeral and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I started reflecting on life and stuff like at the time, and plus I was driving her crazy. So she told me to go out in the garage and to break out all my old music and start working on it. She said, "You ain't got nothing to do, but you're on lockdown, so go work on your music like you used to. That's what you used to love to do."
Yep.
And so I went out in the garage and I started singing again. So the first 6 months of the pandemic, we were locked down. I sang every day for at least 5-6 hours a day.
Wow.
Just sang
Cover
song after cover song.
And this is cover songs.
Well, cover songs and original stuff.
Right.
I would do cover songs to backing tracks.
Sure.
And I would sing my original music a cappella, but I would sing them over and over and over.
Gotcha. Yep.
Over about a 6-month period, they started getting really, really good. Well, she convinced me to start sending out some demos. So I wrote some record companies in Nashville. I've got the addresses from a few of them and emails from a few of them. And I wrote a little bio about myself. Okay. And I did a video of me singing my song "I'm Doing Time" a cappella. With the bio, I sent it out to a bunch of record companies. And a few months later, I got an answer from a record company. They invited me to come down to do "I'm Doing Time." They wanted me to do an album at the time, but I was not ready. I was just not ready.
Why were you not ready?
Well, because I didn't know my butt from the hole in my I mean, I had a good song on my hands, but other than me just being able to sing a good song, I had no earthly idea about anything else. Okay. And I felt like if I would have jumped into that world at that time, full head on, I would have crashed and burned.
I got you.
We would have drowned.
I would have drowned. So
it's great you had the self-awareness to know that.
Well, Dory put a stop to it.
You had the Dory awareness.
She was not going to let me sign a record contract at that time.
Yep.
And the producer, his name was Adam Knight. He was he's a Christian man, and he's a preacher too. And he told me, he said, "You have some inspiring music, really." And he said, "If you stick to it 5 years, your music, you'll be you'll be successful.
Okay, cool. So you did one song then down in Nashville?
I did three, but I only dropped one to radio, and it was I'm Doing Time.
Okay.
And it actually got a lot of airplay. It's been out, and it's still out on now.
Nice. People can hear it on Spotify,
Yeah,
Apple
they can
Music,
hear it
all
on
that
YouTube and
YouTube.
Apple Music and iTunes. Right now, it's called I'm Doing Time. I'm Doing Time by Billy Reavis. So anyway, they sent me back home from Nashville with just that one single, and I didn't have anything to back it up. So I came back, and I set about trying to build a team around me. And the first few years were a complete failure. I just kept making mistake after mistake.
Well, they're not failures, Billy. They're
not.
learning experiences.
Well, learning experiences.
I was just say you didn't fail at nothing.
I didn't fail at nothing, but I did make one great move when I first came home, or a great connection. I met this man right over here, Mr. Michael Goodfriend, early on.
Okay.
And off and on for the last 3 years, he's been somewhere in the picture.
So Mick, tell me kind of how, like, what was going on when you met Billy and how you guys got connected.
Yeah, he I guess he put an ad in the paper, and I've been playing in bands for 50 years by now.
Good for you.
It
Nice.
said original country music looking for a guitar player.
Oh, okay.
And so that piqued my interest.
Yep.
We got in touch. We got together, and Billy, he was real up front. First time I met him, he's like, "Look, Mick, I just want to put this out on the table." I was inside. I did time, and I asked him one question. I said, "Did you hurt anybody?" And he said, "Nope, just myself."
Right, okay.
And that was good enough for me.
Nice.
And from there, it just went. He's just raw talent. He's just got a great voice, great songs. He said, "Mick, you wouldn't believe how good the acoustics are in a prison cell." He's right. And, yeah, it's just been a thrill. And,
That's awesome.
We just clicked, and
Very
we
cool.
just took it from there.
Okay. All right. So you meet Mick, and then where did it go from there?
Okay, so for off and on for the last 3 years, we do live a distance apart from each other. So that was one of a big thing at first too. A big distance trying to get together to play.
Yep.
So trying to put a band together around me and him, I kept making mistakes. I kept picking the wrong horses.
Okay.
About 9 months ago, I'm sitting in my couch. I'm at a crossroads, and I'm debating on whether or not I want to delete all my music and stop. I was frustrated with my lack of progress. It was me, not the progress. I was not staying in the moment.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I was projecting it. And I was
You were trying to go a little bit faster
Exactly.
than. Okay. Got it.
And I was not liking the results that I was getting.
Yep.
And so I had to take a step back. And reevaluate what I wanted to do. Do I really want to pursue this? Am I good enough to pursue this? And,
Yep.
all these things were going through my head. That little devil on my shoulder that wants to just take me back down that dark alley was always just, you're not good enough. Just,
Right.
It's time to walk away.
Yep.
Well, a friend of mine, her name's Christy Hepper. She's a local rock scene girl. That her old man is in a band called As We Become Ghost. She met me at an open mic at Harper's Pub. She fell in love with my voice 3 years ago. Well, fast forward 10 months ago, she sees an ad on Facebook, a Studio 6, looking for an original country singer to come in and do a song that they had written. I'm sitting there on my couch, and I'm contemplating on stopping music, and then she sends me this message out of the blue. And I sat there for a minute, and I had just prayed earlier and asked God, I said, "God, if you want me to continue down this road, please show me the way."
Right.
A little while later, I get this text.
That's amazing. Yep.
So I answered the text, and it was Mr. John Tubick and Mr. Michael Cattell at the other end of that text. I said, "I'm an original country music singer," and so a little back and forth banter. I sent them my song, "I'm Doing Time," a few tracks that I did down there that I didn't release.
Right.
And
you had masters of those?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. They texted me back about a week later and said, "Man, we've had a few people answer this ad, and man, we went through we really like you.
That's awesome.
And
Fantastic.
we'd like you to come in and give us a shot."
Yep.
So they sent me the music, and they sent me the song that they wanted me to sing, and they sent me a version of it with another singer that had sang it, just to give me the keys and everything.
Yep.
And told me to make it my own. And a couple of weeks later, I went to work on it. And a couple of weeks later, I went in and I nailed it on the first take.
Nice.
And
What song's that?
It's called Soko and Lime, and it's going to be your
Soko and Lime?
Yeah,
Yes.
Soko
Okay.
and Lime.
Who wrote that song?
Michael Cattell.
Mike Cattell. Okay, good. All right.
Anyway, I'm going to get to John here in a minute. Let him.
Yeah. So John, you're part of Studio 6.
Studio 6, yes.
Right.
I grew up with Mike. We've been lifelong friends.
Okay. You and Mike own it?
Yes.
How many owners are there?
Actually, I just started being a business partner with him a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Although I work with him all the time.
Gotcha. So Mike,
we are now together.
Mike Cattell started it, founded it, I guess.
Yes.
And now you guys are partners.
Right. It's
Okay.
in Riverton, New Jersey. Mike had written the song Soko Lime, and we got all the tracks done or what have you. And he was going to sing it like
Yep.
he normally would, but he came up with the idea. He said, I really would like to get a country voice on this.
Okay. And Mike doesn't see himself as a country guy?
Nah,
Okay.
he's more has a rock kind of feel to his voice. So, like Billy said, we put the ad in, and we got 3 to 5 different people that answered it, and they all were good.
Yep.
But Mike, one day we were going back and forth. He said, well, what do you think? I said, well, this guy here, Billy, whoever he is, I said, he sounds like he's already there. Like,
Right.
I said, there's something magical about his voice.
Okay.
So, like Billy said, we contacted him, and he came, and we were going to pay him. Figured pay you for your services.
Oh, I see. Like a hired gun type
Sure,
thing.
sure,
Yep,
because
yep.
we do that on occasion on a song. Billy actually, after the track, he said, he goes, I don't want your money. He said, I got a lot of this stuff in my head right now, a lot of songs. And he says, I'm looking for someone to work with. He's just a wonderful human being.
Yeah. Yep.
We've grown as very, very good friends
Yep.
from that moment on. And he wanted to do an album, so we all agreed, let's get a record done.
Yep.
And then Billy would tell me about Mick. He says, I've been working with this guitar player, Mick. He said, would you want to play? Because I was just going to play drums on the tracks. I wasn't really. And he's like, I'm putting together a band. I couldn't refuse him.
So you guys
That
first.
would be a major mistake in my life.
So I'm trying to see if I understand this right. So you've kind of started out as studio musicians working on Billy's album.
Yeah, we were going to work.
Yep.
Okay. And like he said earlier, it's really interesting. Me and Mike always would say this, like when he wouldn't be there. The way he would sing the song, like he said, he didn't play an instrument or anything.
Right.
We could actually hear the damn music in our head.
Okay.
It's just the way he would project his voice. And we just started putting the band together, and Steve came along.
Yep.
That was another blessing. We had gone through a bass player before that, and someone gave a number for Steve to contact.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody recommended
Anita,
Steve.
A friend of ours named Anita.
Shout out to Anita for recommending Steve.
And, I went and had lunch with Steve and his lovely wife, Julie.
Okay.
And at the time, they wasn't married, but this was 5-6 months ago. But we hit it off from the very get-go, and I told them the complete truth about me. I told them about everything. I don't hide any of my past, and I'm not ashamed of anything that happened to me or what I went through. If I could help some other young man not go through what I went through, then it's worth me telling my truth.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, there's an authenticity to Billy that when you meet him, you know it, and when you hear his voice, you hear it.
Steve, I know you're kind of in the back. You just kind of rolled in a little while ago, right? So
There he is.
if you don't mind either speaking up or maybe getting closer to a microphone.
Come on, man.
I want to get into your background a little bit. You've definitely got the country vibe going on. I appreciate that. He's got the western shirt and the cowboy hat on and the cowboy
It's funny
boots.
you should mention that country vibe. 'Cause I came about this band via death metal band.
No way. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love it. I'm a hardcore metal guy back from back in the day.
Yeah, Anita got me in touch with Billy, and we met at a diner.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out in the parking lot, and he played some of the music and sang to me, and I was like, yeah, man,
That's
this
awesome.
is exactly what I want to be a part of, because I had also been in a blues band for 7 years,
Mm-hmm. What were they called?
Long Tall Sally, and I liked what I heard, especially Soko and Lime.
Okay.
Struck a chord. I'm from the South. I was born and raised in Florida, lived in Georgia, South Carolina.
Yep.
Grew up on blues and country. Somehow and played death metal.
What was the name of the death metal band you were in?
Seeds of Perdition.
Seeds of. That sounds vaguely
They're very
familiar.
good,
Were you
too.
guys kind of local,
Oh my God,
or?
they're very good.
We're out of Philly. I'm no longer. in the
Okay.
band.
Yeah.
Yeah, we released a few albums, and
I had back in my old metal days, I had a friend who was a bass player in a death metal band called Mortal Decay, and they
I know those guys.
yeah, they opened
really
up for Biohazard and stuff back in the day.
I've
So
done shows with Mortal Decay for the last 20 years. I
Okay.
was in Blasphemous like 20 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, that's awesome.
And Mortal Decay, Insanity,
Fantastic. That's
bands
awesome.
like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Trephination.
Did you have the long hair and everything? Please tell me you did.
No, when I did in the 80s and 90s.
All right, good.
But when the sunroof started getting stuck open in the back, I knew it was time to put the top down.
That's fantastic. I hear you.
It was just that patch that I can't do.
I got
comb
you.
over,
I'm
so.
starting to get there myself. Not that I have long hair, but I'm starting to get there. I'm contemplating
Yeah,
how many years it's going to be before I have to shave it.
I went from hair halfway down my back to
Wow.
whacked it, just
Really?
buzzed it all off. Yeah, just straight up. Well,
That's-
I did the electric buzz thing, no guard, and my first reaction was, "This feels so good." It's
Oh,
amazing.
really?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so then after I did the blues thing and Seeds put out one more album, we got kind of stale.
Okay.
We were sitting around spinning our wheels,
hmm
and I walked and I hooked up with Billy, and I was like, "This is awesome. I'd love to get in on this on
Nice.
the ground floor."
That's fantastic.
I
Okay.
didn't know what to expect.
Yep. Yep.
So they sent me tracks. I sat at my house and worked on them. Went and met Billy at Mick's house, and the three of us ran through 5 songs right then and there.
Nice.
It felt natural. Everything clicked and worked really well.
That's
and
awesome.
We're writing together.
Oh,
you
okay,
know,
good.
And
good.
everything is organic.
Nice.
So he comes in and starts singing,
Yeah.
and then somebody starts planking, and
Okay.
everybody's like
Nice.
gets on
Yeah,
board.
we're coming up with a good process now of writing
Good,
songs together
good.
now, so it's really become organically fun.
Yep. So I know, and again, we'll bounce around a little bit, and I want to get to everybody who's here. We've got a few more people that we haven't talked to, but so we've got an album coming out on Friday, right?
Yes.
Friday. What's the date? I don't have it
The
in front of me.
21st.
21st. Okay.
February the 21st.
What's the album called?
Bonafide.
Bonafide. All right. And it'll be under Billy Ray and the Bad Boys
Billy
if
Ray
people
and
want
the
to
Bad Boys.
search it on Spotify and all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Steve just mentioned that you guys are writing too. So now that, I mean, obviously these songs are written, recorded, produced, mastered, mixed, all that stuff. And you guys are writing new material for some time in the
Yeah,
future.
we're moving on to the album too.
Are you going back to a lot of the stuff that you've already written, or are you
Yes.
starting from scratch?
Well, I'm pulling out everything out of the archives.
Gotcha.
and-
Okay.
But I'm pulling out all the good stuff first.
You're still.
And I'm writing organic.
You're still
too.
writing new stuff as
I'm
well.
writing new stuff,
Okay,
too,
cool.
On a daily basis.
Very cool.
He'll just send me a vocal clip.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a Sunday morning, and he'll be just
Yep.
Yeah,
he'll
yeah,
just
yeah.
sing me a song.
Yep.
He's like, "I just wrote this," and it's like, okay,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a
All right.
beautiful thing.
I'm still writing without instruments, by the way.
Are you really?
Yeah. but
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever.
Well, I know you
song-
recently started playing guitar. You're teaching
I'm-
yourself guitar,
I am
right?
playing guitar,
Yep,
but
yep.
I'm still writing the original way that I taught myself.
Okay.
Is that a cappella? It just works.
When you present a song to these guys, do you kind of give them an idea? Like I've seen Steven Tyler in the studio, and he'll talk to the drummer, and he'll be like, "I'm thinking like a," you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or a guitar part, like da-na-na-na, right? Do you do that to these guys, or do you
Yes, I
just
do.
leave it all up to them?
Early on, John, I started making guitar noises to John.
I understand
It sounds
that.
something like this. I said, it sounds. He said, I understand that language, Billy. So, problem solved.
Nice,
I can mimic
nice.
what sound I'm kind of going for. And,
Okay.
And it's getting to the point now, though, if I just pop up an idea and Mick or John has already got the drum beat going. And,
Okay,
And,
yep.
and even Zach too, who we haven't heard from yet.
Right, we're getting to
He's
him
the
next.
youngest, He's
Yep.
the young man, but he's like very, very good at picking up what
Okay.
the sounds that I have in my head.
Okay, cool.
He's even getting good at it. It's
All right.
just-
So Zach, you are John's son.
Yeah,
Right. Okay,
yeah.
cool. And you play guitar.
Yeah.
How did you end up in the band?
Well, crazy story, really.
I knew a guy.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm 24, so I've been playing since I was about 15. You know, on and off, really. Never really was in a band.
Okay.
Just kind of doing solo stuff.
Right.
Started playing the drums really when I was like 13.
Oh,
And
okay.
then just went to guitar, you know, by 15, kind of. Just because I, you know, just felt right, kind of.
Right,
And then I
right.
could sing a
Was
little
your dad
bit.
heartbroken that you went to guitar from drums?
I still play a little bit, drums.
No, he was.
Yeah.
He's better than you.
Yeah.
Play guitar.
He's a better musician than all of us.
Yeah, guitar sounds better. No, he was good. He was in the jazz band. So
Oh, okay. Nice. Nice.
cool.
Yeah, and then basically, you know, it was about this past October, I think, late September.
Yep.
My dad said, you know, why don't you come to a rehearsal with us? And,
Okay.
you know, I didn't think I was going to be in it for the long haul at first.
Right,
But
right.
we played in Mick's house, and right in his house, in his living room, acoustically.
Yep.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So how many metal bands have you been in?
No matter. This is my first country, though.
Okay. Have you been in other projects, other bands, anything like that? Or
Not
just,
really. I
okay.
mean, in school, but
Yep.
nothing really taken seriously.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Any kind of like solo stuff that you've done or anything
Little
like
solo
that?
stuff, but no
Yeah.
like original, you know,
Okay,
not
gotcha.
like on Spotify or anything. But
Brian, my old high school acquaintance.
That's right.
You graduated a year ahead of me. I went to high school with your sister, right, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Shout out to Jen and Chris. I know you said you do a lot of work with Studio 6 and all that stuff. So kind of give me your background, please.
So I guess my background is I'm Mike's brother.
Yep.
So a lot of times he likes getting free labor.
That's how it really started.
Bingo.
That's right.
In fact, I did some keyboard work on, I don't even remember what song it was, but it was one of Billy's songs, and I hadn't even met Billy yet.
Right.
So I was just kind of playing, and I think one day I was in there, and he was in the studio, and we kind of crossed paths, and so that was how I even met him to begin with.
I kind
Okay.
of begged him to come play for us.
Oh, really? Nice.
I did. I told him to keep it in the family. Go ahead.
It was country definitely not my thing,
Right,
you know,
right.
initially anyway, but
Sure.
I think the sound that we have here is like it's just very natural, very organic. Yeah, hybrid is a good word. for it.
Okay.
It's very
Hybrid country.
it's kind
Yeah.
of like a country
So
rock kind
I was
of
going to say, what's it a hybrid of? Country and rock, you think?
Yeah.
R&B too.
Okay.
R&B.
I think it's hard to kind of like put it in one spot because
Mm-hmm. Sure.
it really kind of fills a lot of
A little bit of death metal.
I love it. I'm made after my own heart for sure. So you're the keyboard. You're doing keys,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I know you guys were doing the Stewart's drive-in thing down in Vineland, right?
So when we started this project, like I said, I hadn't had a lot of live experiences with a band. In fact, I never played with a band before.
Right.
Not live. Over the summer, I was offered the opportunity to play at Stewart's Root Beer in Vineland, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because of Dory that we was able to get that gig. And I had never eaten there before.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to pick her up from work one day. And she promised me that she was going to stop at Stewart's for the first time. I was going to finally get to eat Stewart's.
Oh,
Root Beer.
okay.
I've been here almost 10 years. I've never got to eat Stewart's.
Nice.
And so
That's because he was a bad boy.
because I've been a bad boy for a few years, and I never got around to get there. But anyway, we stopped there, and I had noticed that they had built that behind Stewart's. They had cleared out this big field and made it into like a family park. Put some stuff out there for. And I told Dory in passing, I said, it would be nice to play a show out here in
Right.
the summer, like do an outside show out here. So I went and found out who the owner was and got in contact with him and asked him, if he had any live music events there and or was planning on having any there. And he said, not at the moment we don't, but come by and talk to me and maybe we can come up with something. So I went by and talked to him and I played some of my music for him and he fell in love with my music and he said, man, I'd love to have you come play here. So he offered me free burgers all summer long.
There you go. Nice.
And root beer to come
beer
play,
floats.
and a little pocket change to pay my band with.
Nice.
We were able to go out there and play once a month at this place, do a big show
Okay.
once a month over the summer. So 4 shows there.
Okay.
And to get a live feel, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we
yeah.
were able to grow, and we had other artists come out on
Mm-hmm.
the weeks that we wasn't there. So I actually was over the entertainment for the place. So I actually got my feet wet as being a promoter,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
as
cool.
being
Nice.
a booking agent. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of local talent come up and play there. I had Amber and Anthony West come
Yep.
play there. I had Charlie Becker come play.
Yep.
And some talent from further away too, from Cape May, a player by the name of John Rentenaria. We will be back at that gig this coming summer.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
too.
nice. So you're gonna do it again this summer?
Yes. But we do have a big show coming up May 17th.
You do? Okay.
Frenchtown, New Jersey. I'm actually playing.
Oh
with you
yeah,
that
we're
day.
we're yeah, I'm
playing
on that
for
bill too.
the Tunnels
Yep.
Tower Syndrome
Yep.
Foundation. We're
Yep.
opening up. Proud to say we're opening up.
That's
the honor
awesome.
That day, and
Yep.
I get to take the stage with the likes of you and
Yeah,
George
man.
Becker.
Yep.
And
Todd
some-
Bailey.
Yeah.
There's a few others. Yep.
Some other great artists.
cool.
You
Yep.
know, and when George Becker contacted me and asked me if I would like to open up, or we would like to open up, man, I said I'd be honored.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know,
Yep.
so
All right, Dory, you've been very patient, very silent, you know, but I feel like you're kind of the backbone of this entire organization here. So
she's the warden.
the warden, right. So why don't you tell me how you and Billy met?
Story.
Yep.
I did his taxes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
That's how we met. And believe it or not, our very first little date, I'll tell you about that one, which is good. I had to go pick him up.
Okay. How long have you been together, by the way? How long ago was this?
14 years.
14 years. Okay. All right. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
6 months
Yeah.
after I came home.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so did that our very first little date.
Mhm.
Little Caesar's pizza, pack of cigarettes and a Pepsi.
Nice.
And took him back to my house and we sat and we talked.
Okay. Nice.
And then I took him back home.
Mm-hmm.
We did that for a while. But yeah, after he ended up coming in and moving in, told him about his voice. I love his singing.
Right.
I always.
And you were the one that kind of encouraged him to.
Yeah, well.
Even prior to COVID, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
way
Yeah.
prior to COVID. This
Okay.
is even after we first met because
Right.
after he come home from work, he'd get in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my friends, my girlfriends, would come over and we'd always sit in there drinking coffee, you
Mm-hmm.
know, just sitting, everything, no noise being there, and we're just sitting there drinking our coffee. So we all started applauding for him. He's like,
He's singing in the shower. Is that what you're telling me?
Another living room full of women.
But they started doing that almost every day. They started coming over every day.
Right.
I
when
had
he
a
was
cult
coming
following
home.
in my living room every day.
So, and then yeah, during COVID, yeah, I kicked him out because he was getting on my nerves.
Well, so now I know you've been to the Little E's open mic, and I know you do like background vocals on the album, right?
Yes.
So tell me how that kind of came about, and how long have you been kind of performing with Billy?
Since the start, I feel we're good together.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way how he sings. He gets me up. He gets me motivated, and he brings out the best in me.
Good.
When
That's
it comes
awesome.
out to singing.
We love to perform together, and
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, if I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, then it's not worth doing it anyway. And I do it for the joy of seeing the joy in her. Some of the newer songs that I have written now, they're all written. She's the muse of them. So some
Okay.
of the newer songs that are going to be coming out after a couple off this first album are inspired by her. Most of them are from prior when I was in prison, but a couple of them that were written about her.
Yep.
But most of everything that's coming down the pike is either inspired by her or a story that has something to do, you know,
Sure.
about us. You know,
Okay.
but it's not your typical love story. And
Right,
it's not,
right,
you
right.
know, it's going to be a good ride. These songs are. Every one of them are very impactful. I wrote one song called "Beautiful Morning." I think it's going to be a really, really good song.
Okay.
It's going to bring a lot of people joy.
Is that on the new album?
It's going to be on the new album.
Okay, cool.
Yes. It's Julie's favorite song, and I actually got to sing it at her and Steve's wedding.
Okay.
A
Very
few
cool.
months ago,
Nice.
in front of about 200 or 300. How
Wow.
many people were there?
Nice.
It was
Not quite 100.
Was the band there as well?
No.
Okay.
I had to sing it a cappella with
Oh,
no instruments,
wow.
and I did
Check
it for
that out.
a room full of 100 people.
And Steve and I did the backups.
And they
on
did
it.
the backups.
Oh, very
and,
cool.
Without instruments, we did it.
That's
and
great.
We got a standing ovation in the whole room. Yeah.
Tell me about like some of your other inspirations.
Like Steve and all them, I come from a rock background. I'm not
Okay.
country.
Really? That's surprising to me. You were born in Texas,
I was
right?
born in Texas,
Yep.
but I was raised up listening to Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
Which is, I would call it, outlaw rock.
Right, sure.
Outlaw
Southern
country
rock, whatever you want to call it.
Southern
yeah.
rock, Southern country rock. So I'm inspired by bands like Shinedown.
Okay.
One of my favorite singer in the world, Shinedown. But when I write music, I hear country music.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's what's in my head. That's what's coming out of me.
Yep.
When I'm writing music, no matter how hard I try, I keep sitting down and write a rock song.
The only time he could really do a rock song is if it's really the rock music.
Yeah, if I'm
Oh,
doing
But
rock
if he's
music,
Gotcha.
just singing a cappella, it comes out.
Right,
country.
it
right,
comes
right.
out country.
Where do you think that comes from? I know you wrote a lot of songs while you were doing time. Did you write prior to that or no?
No.
Okay, so you really started your musical journey while you were locked up.
Yes.
So where do you think the country vibe comes from? Any idea?
I've tried to answer that question, and I kept coming up, Neil. It might have been because I was raised up listening to a lot of Elvis Presley and
okay.
Johnny Cash.
Yep. Okay.
You know what I mean? But when I got into my teenage years, that's when I went off into the rock scene. And,
Yeah.
And I never went anywhere else. I stayed in that world. But in a lot of times, a lot of these songs that I'm writing, it's like I wake up with them in my head.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I go to sleep.
I wake up with a melody
And
or two
even now,
sometimes.
I got pads of paper beside my bed.
Yeah.
So if I wake up in the middle of the night and I have a verse going through my head, I don't lose it anymore. I'll immediately.
Yeah.
I'll immediately get up, and she's been up many a nights. What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? I got a verse. And I'm sitting there on the side of my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning writing a song.
He's actually started singing in his sleep.
Oh, really?
So
And it's like,
That's
it's like
crazy.
they're being channeled from somewhere else. I'm a conduit for this music from somewhere else.
Did your parents or anybody else in your family have like any kind of musical background?
No.
No, as far as you know, you're the only one in your family.
I did have my uncle my aunt and uncle raised me.
Okay.
And my uncle was a gospel singer, and his name was Carl Brooks.
Okay.
Carlton Brooks, and he put out a gospel album back in the 50s.
Oh wow, nice.
And it did very well, but he never followed up on it. And of course, kids came, and 3 kids of his own, and then he ended up raising 5 more. Me and my 4 brothers.
Oh, wow.
3 brothers and sister.
Okay.
Were adopted by my aunt and uncle, and they raised us. So his career got put on the side to raise 8 kids.
How did it come about that you were raised by your uncle?
My mom and my dad were both alcoholics and drug addicts.
Okay.
And we were all taken away. I was 2 years old. We were taken away from our family.
Wow.
And back in the 70s, it took a lot for family services
Oh, yeah.
to take a kid.
I bet, yeah.
Because, it was family services was just being created back then anyway.
Sure.
It took a lot. But we were taken away by family services, and my mom's sister was not going to let us be split apart, and so she took us on, and her husband took us on with their 3 kids of their own, 5 of us, and so
Wow.
8 kids they raised on, and we didn't have much growing up, but the clothes on our back, and I got a lot of hand-me-downs. I'm the youngest out of all of them, and I got everybody's hand-me-downs. So I don't think I seen a brand new pair of tennis shoes until I was 10 years old.
Right. Wow.
Yep. But I also learned to appreciate the little things that I did have too. My teenage years some bad things happened to me that my aunt and uncle wasn't able to protect me from, and I won't go into all that. I'll just say this. I'll just say that I ended up turning down a bad path.
Okay.
And I ended up getting strung out on methamphetamine at the age of 11 years old.
Oof. Wow.
And it was hard to come out of that, to dig my, it put me in prison. That's where it stopped.
Right.
I was in prison.
Okay, so you were able to kick the addiction while you were in
Yes.
prison.
I mean, I came home and I used again.
Okay.
14 years. I've used over the last 14 years, but I quit completely 2 years.
2 years. All right. Well, hey, man, 2 years is
2 years.
Congratulations, brother. Are you still in touch? Like, brothers and sisters still alive?
1 sister and 1 brother left.
Okay.
Blood brother.
Still in
All
touch or
three
no?
cousins that I was raised
Oh,
with are
right,
still
right, right.
alive,
No,
so-
only two.
Well, we got two.
Okay.
So-
Are still in touch with any of those folks?
Yeah, I'm still
Good.
My
good.
sister, we
Yeah.
go down to visit my family every year.
Love the fishing trip.
We go
Oh,
on a
nice.
fishing trip every
Nice.
year. Go down with my brother, and we go out on we rent cabins at a Lake Texoma every year and go fishing. For
Is
a
that down
week.
in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
it's a
awesome.
big-
That sounds
big
great.
Freshwater lake, and
Yep.
we go fishing for a week, and we end up coming home with like 4 or 5 big coolers full of fish. So we go stock up on fish every
That
year.
sounds great, man. That sounds great. That's awesome. All right, so you guys are going to do a couple songs for us, right?
I do want to say one
Go ahead,
thing.
Dory.
Right now, with everybody that's here, it's amazing how we all are getting this going and how we're all working together. And we're working very strong. We're working hard. And I don't think ain't nobody going to stop us now.
Well said, Dory. All right, so what 2 songs are you going to do for us?
We're going to do my original song that I put out initially, Doing Time.
Okay.
And it's remastered. We've actually redid it, the Nashville version, and added another verse.
Oh, cool.
And put our own put a new spin on it.
Yep.
And Studio 6 style.
Very nice.
And we've also remastered a song called Music Man.
Okay.
That wasn't released, but we went ahead and remastered it anyway, and we're putting we're putting our spin on it. It's ours.
Nice. So those are the 2?
the 2 songs.
Okay, cool.
Music Man and Doing Time.
Perfect. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you guys doing the podcast.
Thank you for having us. man.
This is great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. This song right here is called I'm Doing Time, and it's by Billy Ray and the Bad Boys, and just take one. So I went before the judge today, he sentenced me to life. He said, son, you done the crime, and now you've got to pay the price. Well, I hung my head and I cried real soft. It wasn't about the time, it was about the girl I loved so much, leaving her behind. As I sit here in this prison, so very far from you, memories come flooding back and they're making me feel blue. Well, I feel so far away and I don't know what to do. But I know one thing's for certain, baby, I'll always love you. I'm doing time without you. Every day is a misery, and every day I'm blue. I'm doing time without you. All I've got is a memory to help me make it through. As the day draws nearer for me to be set free, so I thank the Lord above my love that you belong to me. 'Cause I can see the light is shining and it's just around the bend. And I'm coming home real soon, my love, just to hold you once again. I'm doing time without you. Every day is a misery, and every day I'm blue. I'm doing time without you. All I've got is a memory to help me make it through. As the day draws nearer for me to be set free, Lord, thank the Lord above my love that you belong to me. Well, the prison gate swings shut behind me. Never will I be so low. Well, I lost my one true love. I just had to let her go. Well, the reason I'm a free man now is 'cause she gave me her heart. And I'll always have her love inside me. Never will we be apart. I'm doing time without you. Every day is a misery, and every day I'm blue. I'm doing time help me make it through. All I've got is a memory to help me make it through. All I've got is a memory to help me make it through.
All right. Nice.
This song right here is called Music Man, and the lyrics to this song right here speak for themselves, and this is why I do it, and this is why we all do it. This song speaks for itself. Music Man by Billy Ray and the Bad Boys. Light on the road again, mile after mile, a lonely wind. I ask myself, why do this all the time? Another time, another show. I watch the screaming faces glow as they hear the sound of my song. And then I realize the purpose for everything I do is for the love of the music in my soul. And if I can make a difference, oh, in just one person's life, then I know it was worth all those lonely miles. I pulled into another motel, the same old look, the same old hair. Another night without you by my side, baby. The sacrifices that we made, all to make this music great. Lord, baby, here I go again, cause I'm a music man. I'm a music man. I'm a music man. And that's what I am. Ooh, yeah. Another time, another show. I watch the screaming faces glow as they hear the sound of my song. And if I could make a difference, oh, in just one person's life, then I know it was worth all those lonely miles. Cause I'm a music man. I'm a music man. I'm a music man. And that's what I am.